Hang in there, Chiaki. Just keep it together. I rushed to her side and offered her a hand. Surely it hardly matters at this point.
Let's see. Justin's not here yet. Frank, you pop in for now.
Surely it hardly matters at this point. You're not going to make it on time regardless.
We have a higher voice, less deep.
Surely it hardly matters at this point. You're not going to make it there on time regardless, I said coldly. And in any case, if 4-star General Gossip doesn't get released, it's Mr. Toyama who's going to be in trouble, not you. I dare say the world would be better off with one third-rate gossip rag less anyway.
Shut your mouth!
Chiaki snapped.
If the gossip doesn't come out, I am going to be in trouble. An article I've written is supposed to be in the next month's issue. It's a piece I've worked on. It's a piece I've worked my very hardest on, to the very end. A piece Mr. Mino saw fit to put in print. And so if that goes away, if all of that goes away, yeah, I'll be in trouble, alright.
Chiaki's legs wobbled as she struggled to get back to her feet.
Chiaki,
Katayama said.
Your zeal is a marvelous thing. Worthy of admiration, even. But when it comes to work, results are all that matters. I'm sad to have to put it that way, but I must be honest, it's just common decency.
Katayama glanced at his pocket watch.
You have 57 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. At this rate, you won't even make it to the interview venue before your time's up. Frankly, I don't think even a further extension of your deadline would make any difference in the end.
Damn it! I ground my teeth. I wondered if I should just leave Chiaki here and go interview SOS by myself. I could expand the article on SOS, then work a small part of Chiaki's interview piece in that to at least fill the layout. Right now, the single most important thing was getting the magazine out the door, for Toyama's sake. But if I did cut most of Chiaki's copy, after all she'd done, I might wind up totally killing her passion for being a writer. I have to stop waffling. Professionals don't let their personal feelings dictate their decisions. I can help Chiaki work through her emotional struggles later. Chiaki, that's enough! The young woman got to her feet, staggering as she began to climb the stairs.
I'm not giving up!
She said under her breath.
I can't give up now!
Though obviously in pain, she struggled to keep her legs moving. Damn. I can't do it. Look how hard she's fighting to stay in the game. I can't tell her I don't need her article now. Releasing the next issue of the Gossip wasn't just going to save Toyama. It would save Chiaki as well. I couldn't abandon either one of them. Which left me a hell of a dilemma. Didn't stop wavering soon. We'd be out of time. Try as I might, I couldn't come up with a plan. Then I heard a familiar voice from behind me.
You wonder what path to take. Let my text be your guide.
I spun around to see Kimizuka standing there.
Where to, sir?
The driver asked. Despite his polite demeanor, his pride was obvious. Mr. Kimizuka, I appreciate the thought, but with this traffic...
Traffic? I see nothing of the sort.
Okay, sure, but... I was well aware of Kimizuka's capabilities. The prospect of cutting through the chaos that currently filled the streets was more than a little daunting.
Well, you know this town as well as I do. There's nowhere you can't go.
Alright. What other choice do I have? Guess I've got to trust you. This will be my last request of the day. I pointed down the street. Let's go B. Take us to Inferno. Take us to Inferno. Ura Harajuku.
Inferno. In Harajuku, the bar?
Kimizuka quirked an eyebrow. Yes. Is something the matter?
No, nothing at all. Hurry up and get in.
As soon as I and the others had climbed into the cab, Kimizuka tore off through Shibuya's network of narrow side streets. Passengers in the back jostled roughly back and forth to the sound of screeching tires.
Justin can jump in.
It's altogether far too excessive.
Katayama murmured, wincing as his head bounced repeatedly against the window.
Think we would allow such inconsiderate driving here in this country?
Chiaki, meanwhile, had opened her laptop and was somehow working furiously to finish her copy. The sound of her fingers clicking across the keys echoed within the vehicle. How's it going, Chiaki? I asked.
Just a little more.
Her eyes were glued to her monitor, her face all seriousness. Kimizuka glanced over at me.
If I may ask, sir, what business do you have at this bar?
Just a little interview. I hear a local gang called SOS uses the place as their big hangout.
You're interviewing SOS? Sir, I feel it might be best not to get too involved with that lot.
There was something about the driver's warning that seemed a little off. Did your taxi driver connections tell you what SOS is up to? I asked.
Originally, we're something of a vigilante corpse, and they were keeping the neighborhood clean and safe. But lately, you hear nothing but bad things about them.
Those loan sharks said something very similar. Or it said something very similar. I reminded myself that I'd better be on my guard. Katayama chimed in.
And just how you plan to go about interviewing a gang like this?
That's nothing for you to worry about. I have a plan.
Oh, and just what exactly is this plan?
It's a secret. I gave him a derisive grin. He gave me a... Clearly, he wasn't impressed. I turned to look at Chiaki. She appeared too engrossed in her copy to even hear the conversation. I realize
this is for work.
Kimizuka said worriedly.
But do you really need to take such risk?
Yes, I do. I thought back to that look on Toyama's face. That look when he finally regained his confidence. He couldn't let Heaven Publishing go under. Toyama provided the canvas on which Minorikawa, or on which I had shared my art with the world. Thinking about it now, I realized I'd always been chasing Toyama's shadow. It was galling to admit that man had been the ideal I strove to live up to. That's why I hated seeing Toyama reduced to such a pathetic state. I wanted Toyama to remain indomitable, to keep busting down any and all obstacles in his own peculiar way. Still, I wasn't about to voice these feelings aloud. I felt more than a little embarrassed to be taking it all so personally. When you take on a job, you gotta give it 100% every time. That's what makes you a professional, I said. Wouldn't you agree?
I do indeed.
Katayama did.
But you'll have to demonstrate that 100% in the limited time you have left, which, by the way, is 51 minutes and 30 seconds. And I will not budge in the slightest on that submission deadline. Please, do keep that in mind.
The man took another look at his watch. Got half a mind to break that thing, I told him.
Breaking my watch will not stop time.
Shot him a furious glare. Katayama's composure was unwavering. The guy was unflappable, and the only way I was going to be able to put him in place was to meet his damn deadline. Easier said than done, though. Still want to use 30 of the 51 minutes I had to still write my article. That only left me 20 or so to get the material. Kimizuka suddenly slammed on the brakes and the cab skidded to a halt. I stared through the windshield in shock and saw a smallish, boxy minivan weaving erratically along the road. Whoa! Look out! That thing's headed our way!
Don't worry, sir.
Driver replied.
Just leave this to me.
Keeping his cool, Kimizuka dexterously steered them clear of the oncoming vehicle. The minivan sped past An eerily cold breeze wafted over the taxi. The heck was that? I asked.
I'm not sure.
Mizuka said.
Let's hurry on our way.
Nimbly manipulating the gear stick, he stomped out of the gas once more.
Here we are, sir.
We pulled up outside of a dilapidated old pool hall. You're a lifesaver. I clapped a hand on Kimizuka's shoulder.
Just be sure to be careful, sir.
I nodded.
Huh? What?
Chiaki asked, looking up.
What are we being careful about?
Nothing, I said. You just wait here in the car. You still got that copy to finish up, yeah?
Oh, well, yes. Alright then.
Chiaki frowned but resumed her typing. And you, wait here too, I said to Katayama.
But of course, that goes without saying. Incidentally, you have 49 minutes and 6 seconds remaining.
Did some quick mental math. Half hour I'd already set aside. That left me 19 minutes. However dangerous SOS might be, I couldn't afford to hesitate for even a single second. Bracing myself, I stepped out of the taxi and headed for the pool hall. Phew. Took a deep breath as I approached the grimy door. Here goes. I drew my leg back and gave the door a hearty kick. A mob of young men inside the bar turned as one, the sound of the door crashing open.
Emilio.
Who the hell are you?
Several of them stared towards me belligerently. Calm down and hear me out, I said. I've come to interview you.
Interview us? What the hell for?
These were hot-headed punks, all right. They seemed to be itching for a confrontation. I felt like a punch might come flying my way at any moment. Then another voice called out from further back.
Panda.
What up, guys?
It was a young man, seated in the far back corner of the bar. His air of authority marked him as the gang's leader. This must be Susumu. Then, I thought.
When you say interview, do you mean for TV? Or like a magazine? Mind telling us who you are?
The name's Minorikawa. I'm a freelance journalist. I'm doing a piece about young people in Shibuya. All I'm asking is just for you guys to answer a few questions.
Huh.
Susumu sounded less than enthused. 5 minutes, I said. What do you say?
Nah. I'm not in the best of moods right now. Just go on, get out of here.
Right. I thought. It's going to make things difficult. Hadn't expected these troublemakers to just up and accept an offer to appear in print. Now is when the real battle would begin. Guess I'll just have to write my piece without your help then. Susumu took the bait and shot me a look.
Right about what exactly?
Your little warehouse raids.
Warehouse raids.
Susumu raised an eyebrow.
What are you talking about?
Really now? You're gonna tell me you don't know you boys are... You're gonna tell me You're gonna tell me you don't know your boys are dealing in stolen goods?
SOS don't steal, man. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh yeah? Why don't you ask those two over there? I spotted the two fellows I'd seen arguing earlier at the scene of the explosion. Now I pointed them out. Their faces betrayed their alarm. Susumu glared at them.
Is this true?
They averted their eyes and said nothing.
I asked you a question. Have you been stealing stuff?
After a long moment of surly hesitation, both young men nodded.
You idiots!
Susumu marched up to the two, and without warning, decked them both.
Panda.
How dare you sell the SOS name?
As the two gang members cowered, he continued to punch them repeatedly. Okay, enough with the beatdown. I stepped up to intervene. Let's get down to business here. I won't reveal anything about the warehouse raids. In exchange, you give me my interview. How's that? Not a bad deal, I'd say. But Susumu ignored me, continuing his pummeling of the pair. Whoa, hey! Nobody's gonna play nice with the guy who flies off the handle and beats on people, you know?
What did you just say?
Well, look at yourself. You're clearly not the cream of the crop here, kid. At that, Susumu's fist finally fell still. The rowdy bar went completely silent.
Say it out one more time. I dare you. I'll put your ass in the ground.
The gang's leader's eyes were red with rage. I snorted, unafraid. That's the exact sort of line I'd expect from a total wuss who's all bark and no bite.
Shut your damn mouth. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, this is hilarious. SOS's top dog is such a yappy little puppy. Susumu snarled like an animal.
You son of a bitch. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Chiaki.
Mr. Mano! I'm all finished!
A ebullient voice resounded suddenly throughout the bar. Chiaki? I looked and saw that both she and Katayama had appeared in the doorway.
I finished my copy. Could you... Could you please look it over for me?
She thrust out her laptop proudly. Sumu stared in bewilderment.
Who the hell are you?
Oh, I was under the impression you SOS folks were, being interviewed?
Chiaki broke off haltingly.
Yeah, you're right about that.
One by one, gang members started to close in around her.
Well, it's just... You look like you're really angry is all.
Oh, do we now? That's because we are pretty damn angry.
Good grief.
Katayama groaned.
It would seem that getting your interview is quite impossible. By the way, you only have another.
You shut up! I snapped as Katayama appeared to just watch. Just leave this to me. You two hurry up and get out of here.
No way!
Chiaki said. What? Why not?
Because... I want you to read my copy. Mr. Mino?
She looked me right in the eye. Let's go A. There's no time for an editing session. I had to wrap up the SOS interview and fast. Alright. I said. I'll read it after I'm done with this.
No way!
Chiaki repeated.
I'm not leaving you all by yourself in a place like this.
She refused to budge. Enough of the chit-chat.
Wait, that might be me.
Probably, yeah. One of the gang members reached out to grab Chiaki's laptop. Knock it off! Don't touch that!
Knock it off! Don't touch that!
She struggled to resist. Leave the girl alone, you scumbags! Bar. The young men in the bar stopped and turned. Suzumu was quick to respond.
Panda.
Screw you, man. Who are you calling scumbags here?
Any guy who raises his hand to a lady is a scumbag. If you're looking for a fight, you can fight me. Get your hands off the girl. I did my best to look unafraid. A couple dozen vicious glaces turned back on.
Bring it on.
Suzumu said.
Hey, someone go stand looking out front.
He snapped his fingers sharply.
Get him.
At the signal, Susumu's men quickly closed in on me. It was like being caught in a tsunami. I took a hard punch to the face, and my vision went blurry. Before I could react, I was hit again. Twice. thrice, with punches and kicks. The moment my first assailant paused, another joined the assault. 4 blows, 5 blows, 6. I lost count somewhere around 30. Metallic taste filled my mouth, and I could feel my consciousness fading. All the strength was being battered from my body. I couldn't even tell if I was standing on my feet or lying on my back. And finally, I felt myself crumple to the floor. Even then, the beating did not let up. As I writhed helplessly, young men kicked me in the gut over and over.
Stop it!
I heard Chiaki shriek.
You're going to kill him!
Eventually, I forced myself to go limp. Finally, the kicking stopped.
Frank.
Crap.
One of the thugs muttered, sounding panicky.
We take this a bit too far?
Mr. Mino!
Chiaki rushed to my side, sobbing.
Please!
She cried out.
Answer me!
I held my breath and said nothing.
Mr. Mino!
Tears streaked down her cheeks. She shook me desperately. Don't worry, I gasped out at last, holding up a hand to save her off. I let out a yelp of surprise, staring at my battered face. I could feel blood trickling from the corner of my mouth. I turned my grisly visage on the gang members as I painfully rose to my feet. Abruptly, I broke into peals of mocking laughter.
Mr. Mino.
Chiaki stared at me aghast. I only laughed the harder.
Panda Mimi.
Oh, is it? It seems he took a few too many blows to the head. The poor thing.
Katayama averted his eyes, unable to watch. I shot out an accusing finger at the crowd. Looks like I win this round.
What?
Sumo blinked, dumbstruck. Don't you get it? I said thickly around my bruised tongue. What am I saying? You're a bunch of idiots. Now then, if you'll pardon me.
Listen.
Oh, I get it.
I was halfway to the exit when Katayama's exclamation rang out.
You were planning all along to let these guys beat you up, huh?
I jerked to a halt, my shoulders trembling.
You knew they turned down the interview. And so, by letting yourself get beat up, you'd have something to put in an article. Yeah? It's a bit bogus, maybe. But I guess it's one way to get material to fill your pages.
Broke out into a cold sweat. Shut up, you idiot! But Katayama continued with his oh-so-brilliant analysis.
You sure pulled a fast one on this gang here. I wonder what sort of headline your piece should have. The Twilight of Shibuya's legendary street crew. Former vigilante squad. Now mere gang of common thugs. Something like that, maybe?
Sumu stared daggers at me.
Go on. I dare you to write that up. Then we really will put your ass in the ground.
He moved to block the path to the door, clutching a broken beer bottle in one hand. You moron! I bellowed at Katayama. This close to pulling it off!
Ah, well, that's a shame, isn't it?
Katayama replied. I rolled my... Gee, you think? Susumu slowly advanced on me, beer bottle at the ready.
Incidentally,
Katayama said,
you have 40 minutes and 7 seconds left. Good luck.
hung my head. Is everything futile at this point?
Franks?
Abby?
All right, cool your jets. I'd say that's quite enough.
Oh.
Sumu stopped and spun around. Kimizuka had entered the bar. The taxi driver stared out sternly from behind his sunglasses. All the young men at the bar fell silent. I and my companions and I exchanged glances.
Oh man, you?
Susumu's face twisted up in awkward embarrassment. Kimizuka's tone was light and playful, but intimidating nevertheless.
Whoa, hey now. That's no way to address your teacher.
Teacher! I blurted out in disbelief. Kimizuka nodded.
Yeah, until last year, I used to be a teacher. I got into a bit of a dispute with my school, so I moved on. These guys in here, all former students of mine. Sorry that there's such a bunch of good-for-nothings.
I have never asked.
I thought since I wasn't their teacher anymore, it wasn't my place to butt in. But I couldn't sit idly by and let one of my customers take a beating.
Determined.
This guy totally played you. Every last one of you.
Susumu slipped and
Still, it's hard to imagine anyone would want to take a beating for this many guys all at once. It's hard to your fault for falling for it.
had switched gears from taxi driver to street and
You guys lost this one.
he said,
For that, you need to give him this interview.
No way.
Sumu looked disgusted.
Look here, kid.
Kimazuka said,
Let yourself save some face and help the man out. Maybe you won't come off as a bunch of total idiots in this article.
he flashed an amicable grin.
Well, when you put it that way. Fine. Alright.
Susumu blew out his breath and
Suzumu, you can't just let yourself cave like that. Oh,
the remark had come from a particularly nasty-looking young fellow slouched on the bar sofa. I recognized him. The kid I'd encountered earlier that afternoon, wandering around with a wooden cudgel.
Just shut up, Kiryu.
Susumu said.
So what? You're just gonna let SOS make a mockery of itself?
Kiryu demanded. The gang leader let out an annoyed growl, said nothing.
And you still think you got what it takes to run Shibuya? Shut up! I've already said I'll do it.
Kiryu sneered sullenly at Susumu's outburst.
Mr. Mino!
I was just letting out a sigh of relief at being able to get my interview when Chiaki scurried back up.
Please, can you read my copy now?
Face showed a strange mixture of confidence and unease. All right, I said resignedly. Let me see it. The proving deadline was drawing steadily nearer. Still, piece wasn't good enough. I'd have to make her rewrite it again. Wasn't going to compromise on quality. Bracing myself, I stared at the monitor. Chiaki swallowed hard, so anxious that it was audible. Gave the piece a fast once-over, and read it again more closely. When I was done, closed my eyes, considering. Chiaki held her breath, waiting for my response. It's okay. She looked back at me blankly for a long moment.
Really?
It's really okay.
Is it really, really okay?
It really is really okay. I watched in surprise as she broke down in tears.
Oh, thank you so much!
Chiaki bowed profusely. I gave her a little affectionate ruffle atop her head. She wiped her face with her palms, scrubbing the tears away. So I guess I never really told you.
I think that might be Chiaki's line.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So I guess I never really told you. What's... Whoa. Well, I mean, I want to write socially conscious exposés like you do, Mr. Mino. Oh, sorry. And so, dare you say that an article I wrote is okay? That makes me really... I mean, happy, I guess. Or maybe moved.
Her eyes filled bright with emotion. Well, really? There was actually another writer who took inspiration from my work and who strived to be like me. I had never thought a day like this would come. It was a peculiar feeling. I'd always been the follower, chasing after interviews in order to become more like Toyama. It made me feel both bashful and proud that the skill and soul I'd honed might be passed on to the next generation. Right. I should be off.
Right, I should be off.
Kimisuka gave me a slight nod. I returned the gesture, but more deeply. You really have been tremendous help today. I'm not sure where I'd even be right now if you hadn't been there for me.
Oh no, not at all. I was just driving a customer around to where you asked me to go.
Oh, that's right. I still owe you a fare. Opening my wallet, I saw that I had only 10,000 yen bill. Still, now is no time to be frugal. Keep the change, he said as I handed it over. But even as I said it, Kimisuka was already handing me back some money. The driver had already counted out the exact change in advance. You really are a pro, huh? I took the money and stuffed it into my pocket.
We'll meet again. Somewhere out there, on the streets of Shibuya.
Kimisuka pointed his index finger at my face. I responded in kind. After that, the interview with SOS went off without a hitch. Now that the tension was diffused, so we're just a bunch of ordinary young guys. The juxtaposition of their appearance and their behavior would make for an interesting piece.
So, about what you said earlier.
Susumu said once I had finished my questioning.
About how I'm not the cream of the crop.
Ah, yeah. That... I just said that to get you worked up. Don't worry about it.
Well, let me just ask you what you really think then. How do you think I could be a better leader?
I don't know. I'm not really the sort of guy who wants to stand at the top, you know? But I guess I can tell you two things that'll make things go more smoothly with you and your buddies. Susumu leaned in, listening intently. Forgiveness and also trust. I chewed over my own words. The events of the day replayed in the back of my mind. Given Toyama faked suicide, and trusted that he'd regain his reporter's ed. Forgiven Chiaki for bungled interviews, and trusted that she'd grow as a journalist. In the end, that's what it was that helped me through. Forgiveness, followed by trust. Susumu grumbled softly.
Forgiveness and trust, huh? Doesn't sound so easy.
You'll gravitate towards somebody who can handle things when they get tough. With that, I got to my feet. Now that we've got all the articles we need covered,
Now we've got all of the articles we need covered.
Chiaki brushed over to my side. Well, I guess we still need Mr. Toyama's piece.
I just got off the phone with my office.
Katayama said casually.
It seems they've already received the data from him.
Whoa, what? Guess he really can get the job done when he applies himself. I felt an inner surge of pride. Now then, I indicated Katayama. How much time do we have left?
30 minutes remaining.
Katayama replied, eyeing his watch. 30 minutes, huh? Looks like we might make it after all. Chiaki, laptop!
Right!
Beaming grin, Chiaki held out her computer. I got ready to start typing. Then a young man barged into the bar. The newcomer hurried over to where Susumu was sitting and promptly prostrated himself on the floor. Whatever this was about, it looked like a big deal. Who was this kid? Gang's feeling looked decidedly mixed.
I need people to bring a guy down. I'm here to ask for your help. I know I have no right to ask this. Please, I really need your help.
As I listened to the young man's conversation with Susumu, I feel my blood start pumping. It sounded like they were talking about the terrorist plot in which Shibuya had become embroiled. Hey, Chiaki, I said quietly. Did you hear that just now?
I did! I'm not sure I follow all of it, but it definitely has the width of a major scoop!
shot her a daring grin. So what's the play here, Chiaki?
Interview him, of course.
We only have 30 minutes left, right?
So we take 10 minutes for our conversation. And use the remaining 20 to write up a piece. Ow, 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 ow.
You learned good, kiddo. I ruffled Chiaki's hair again. They both blushed profusely, gripped by a surge of excitement.
Why are you doing this? I can't make any sense of it whatsoever.
Katayama stood peering him skeptically.
If you write up a piece you just did for your interview, you'll make your deadline. Why go out of your way to trouble yourself further?
It's no trouble, I said. I'm just doing what a professional does. That's all. Katayama let out a solemn sigh. He looked at his pocket watch again and snapped it shut.
Well, if you aren't concerned about the time, then do as you like, I suppose. I'll admit you've made me quite curious to read this magazine you're putting together.
Chiaki and I rolled our eyes as we turned away. Already, we were making our way over to Sumu and his gang. Interviews aren't over until you have what you need. Refuse to let them be over. You spend every last second you have to do the best job you can. That's what being a professional journalist is all about. I cracked my knuckles and stepped between the two young men. Sounds like you've got an interesting story. Mind letting me hear it too? Did I just guess the good ending for us?
You did?
Hell yeah.
My cell phone rang. I saw Kuse's name on the display. Connell speaking.
What the hell are you doing?
The director's voice was shrill with irritation.
What's the situation with Maria Osawa?
I have her in custody, sir. We need to get her into quarantine immediately.
Oh, no, it's me.
Oh.
We need to get her into quarantine immediately. I'll send a counter NBC terrorism unit to pick her up. What's your location?
Sir, the situation's a little complicated at the moment, I replied. Stanley and me made eye contact. I gave him a knowing nod. He knew what he needed to do here. I briefly informed Kuse to plan to take Maria to the laboratory, but was careful not to mention Alphard. Please, sir, I said, bound reflexively to the phone. Let me handle this.
Absolutely not!
Kuse exclaimed.
There's no way I can allow that! Maria Osawa needs to go into quarantine right now!
Sir, please, just give us a little more time. Giving her the antivirus is the only way we can save her. If we put her in quarantine, it'll be a death sentence. Kuse let out a growl of frustration.
I know. That isn't your decision to make.
I had run out of arguments. It was clear that Kuse's only concern was stopping the spread of the virus. Director Kuse, Are you just going to let Maria Ozawa die?
We can't put the lives of everyone in Shibuya at risk in order to save a single person.
I know that, sir. That's why I'm asking you to please let me go to that laboratory. If it looks like we're not going to be able to hack the password, then at that point, a quarantine can't.
I know!
Kuze snapped.
I'm giving you an order!
Nope, I'm not accepting that order!
Listen, how many years... Listen,
Kuze said.
how many years have you been a cop?
What do you mean by that, sir? Kuze didn't reply. This is an order from up top? What's going on here, sir? Please, I need some kind of explanation.
Stop it!
Kuze
You
said.
sound like a child. This is a dereliction of duty.
Call me child you want. I'm not following an order that I know isn't right. I punched the end call button with my thumb. From an objective standpoint, maybe Kuze was right. We need to think about more than just Maria. The Ura virus spread through Shibuya would be a nightmare of epic proportions. I understood that perfectly clearly. But still, I looked at Maria's face as she lay collapsed on the floor. This girl was still alive. I couldn't stand idly by and let a living, breathing person die. Consequences be damned. I wasn't going to be the one to weigh the worth of someone's life. As I stood, still clutching my cell phone, Stanley gently set a hand on my shoulder.
You did fine.
He said quietly.
I've ordered is in possession of the Wu virus. People of Shibuya are already in danger. He may have already released the virus in the city. If he hasn't, he may do so at any time. Right now, what we need to do is to get that antiviral and arrest Alphard. You made the right choice here.
Thanks, Stanley. I appreciate hearing that. Stanley gave me a slap in the back. He was right. At this point, you need to focus on the things we could still accomplish.
So, guys,
Achi stepped forward.
who's going to take Hitomi's sister and Canaan to the lab?
Maria was in no condition to walk, so they were going to have to take a car, which meant they needed a driver,
I only have a motorcycle license.
Achi said.
And I don't even know what a lab is, anyhow.
Might be you.
I should go with Maria alone.
Oh, Alfred.
Oh,
Cannot,
come on.
cannot look over at the others.
There's no way of knowing for sure when she might become contagious. We shouldn't needlessly risk exposing more people to infection.
She knelt down to gather Maria in her arms. In that case, I should drive. I rolled around at the sound of a new voice. Wait. Frank?
Is that the taxi driver?
In that case, I mean, it might be me. In that case, I should drive.
I whirled around at the sound of a new voice behind me. Oh. Tateno was standing in the doorway. You! Oh. Achi.
You!
Achi's face went red with rage.
you? I snarled. In the doorway stood the man with the cane.
Detective Tateno?
Tateno? Kano and Daisuke spoke simultaneously. Now at last, I had a name for the assassin. It was a name I felt I'd heard somewhere before. You son of a bitch! I roared. What the hell are you even doing here? Tateno bowed his head profusely.
I am truly sorry.
You're sorry? Sorry doesn't even cut it, man. Not after what you were trying to do with Hitomi.
I don't expect you to forgive me. And I intend to turn myself in, to be punished for my crimes. But before I do that, please, let me do what I can to help you.
I think you've helped enough. I grabbed Tateno by the collar and drew my fist back. Kano moved in to stop me, but Tateno held out a hand.
No.
No,
Oh, it is you.
no. It's alright. Let him do as he pleases.
No trace of menacing expression the man. There was no trace of the menacing expression the man had worn in our previous encounters. I scowled, but lowered my fist, then released my hold on Tateno's collar. Fine. Hitomi's sister needs help, so we do need a driver right now. Make sure you get these two to the lab and back safely. That'll make up for the punch I didn't just give you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Daisuke stepped forward.
Frank.
No. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I'm the one who got you caught up in this.
Daisuke, we really didn't grow up to be very good people, did we?
Nah. Guess not.
The two men stared bleakly at each other, shoulders slumped.
In the end,
Tateno said,
I guess we were just trying to run away from our pain.
Yeah. Didn't expect my own son to be the one to teach me that.
Achi's turned out to be a fine young man.
He is Katone's boy after all.
Guys. I stepped in the middle of their solemn heart to heart. You can get sappy all you want later. Dad, once this is all over, we're going to see Suzune, okay?
Sure.
Daisuke nodded heartedly.
Hold on.
Kano spoke up, turning to Stanley.
These two take Maria to the lab. That leaves just us two to apprehend Alfred down at the Scramble. Is that going to be enough?
I mean, Alfred's not going to show up without a plan. The more people we have on our side, the better. and I doubt we'll be able to get any help from the police.
Panda.
Good point.
Stanley agreed. Hey, I said. I'm here too. And I'm going with you. I'll keep Hitomi safe.
Stanley.
Oh, look. Good news, Kana. Now you have 3 people.
Stanley let out a sardonic laugh. Kano frowned.
Achi, I appreciate the offer, but having 3 people instead of 2 won't make much of a difference. We're not sure the enemy's exact plan. We really need strength in numbers. We could set up a dragnet like the task force did this morning. That'd be ideal, but
Come on, detective, I said. Do you have any idea what sort of approach this psycho might take?
if I were Alfred,
Kano mused.
then I suppose my biggest problem would be figuring out how to get away after I've taken Hitomi's blood.
Stanley nodded in agreement.
I'm betting he plans to involve the Uo virus.
Said.
If, for instance, he set up a device somewhere to spread the virus throughout Shibuya, that prevents us from taking action against him.
I swallowed hard. This guy wanted to unleash a killer virus in Shibuya? If he succeeded, then the town I had known and loved all of my life became a graveyard.
Of course, that's mere conjecture.
Stanley murmured.
Quite frankly, even I can only guess what he's gonna do.
His expression was grim. Strength in numbers, huh? I said. So, you're saying we absolutely need more people. Is that it?
Essentially, yes.
Then we replied.
But not just anyone mind. If it's not a group that meshes well, it will hinder important help.
Kano folded his arms across his chest. He looked perplexed. People who mesh well together, huh? I had an idea. SOS. I could ask SOS. If there was anything I could do, what was that? It was a selfish request, I knew that. Susumu would probably be furious with me, but I would just have to deal with that. Even if my old pal wouldn't forgive me, if they understood that they'd be helping to protect Shibuya, I was sure they'd step up and take action. After all, the whole point of the gang was that it was made up to help. It was made up of people who love their town. Can you give me half an hour? I'm gonna try and see if I can rustle up some people. Kano straightened himself up.
You think you can do it?
I nodded assertively. Just wait here for me, okay? I said to Hitomi. She gave me a worried smile.
Carl.
All right. I'll be waiting.
It'll be okay. I did my best to sound reassuring. I promise I'll bring back some help. I knew where I needed to go. The pool hall in Buda Harajuku. That was the old gang's main hangout. Running at top speed, I probably could make it in about 10 minutes. All right! Rushing out the door, battle cry loud enough for Kano and the others to hear from the backside of the shop. I sped on my way. Traffic on Dagazaka was at a near standstill.
Achi's protests were vehement, but he backed down at last. Tateno would escort Canaan and Maria to the lab. They left 3 to try to apprehend Alfred. Me, Stanley, and Achi. Having only 3 people was a dicey prospect, though, so Achi took it upon himself to head out and gather some backup. Tateno got the car keys from Daisuke and helped Canaan pick Maria up the floor. I watched him warily. There's no trace of the blood-curdling expression the older detective had shown when he was holding Maria at gunpoint. His face was that of a man with responsibility, the Tateno that I had always known.
Are you sure you're okay with doing this?
Hitomi asked Tateno.
You might get infected.
That doesn't matter. Don't worry about me. All I care about now is helping you two if I can.
He hesitated, glancing down at the unconscious girl he held.
By the way, have Maria's memories come back.
Hitomi tilted her head.
Her memories?
I suspect she took a blow to the head when she was abducted. When I ran into her earlier, she didn't even know her own name.
Well, she seemed like the same sister I've always known when she came in here.
Good. Then her memory must have recovered.
I was shocked to hear that Maria had suffered amnesia. Explain why she hadn't contacted anyone after she'd been set free.
All right then.
Tateno said.
We'll be back.
Carrying Maria, he and Canaan headed for the door. Detective Tateno. I called out, then paused, tongue-tied, when Tateno stopped. There's so many things I wanted to say, but I couldn't find the words for any of them.
Once Maria is safe, I'll turn myself in.
Tateno kept his back turned. The words like a dagger in my heart. Once this was all over, Tateno would no longer be detective, but a criminal. I knew there was no alternative, but still, the realization hit me hard. Detective Tateno?
Stop your dithering.
But...
Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever.
I snapped back to attention at Tateno's words. That was Dick Dictum number 1, the vice that had kicked off the whole Dick diary.
I'm not the one you should be worrying about right now.
Tateno continued.
We need to save Maria Osawa's life and protect the people of Shibuya.
I bit my lips. Yes. Yes, you're right. I did my best to squash my emotions.
Then we're good.
Tateno gave a slight nod, then headed out the door. Detective Tateno! Just before the older man disappeared. I called out one last time. Be careful out there! Tateno flashed a hint of a smile, then left the workroom. There were only 30 minutes remaining until the time when Alfred had told us Hitomi should be at the scramble. They need to get ready for action. The surveillance camera still up? I asked.
Yes.
That's
It
good.
looks like what happened earlier.
Go ahead.
It looks like what happened earlier was just a temporary hacking job.
Then will you help us? Daisuke inclined his head.
What do you mean?
I'd like you to keep your eye on the scramble for us. If anyone suspicious tries to get near Hitomi, let us know.
Anyone suspicious? How will I know what's suspicious?
Like that organ trafficker who suggested you kidnap Hitomi, Mr. Endo. It's possible that he might be Alfred. Would you be able to recognize his face? Daisuke furrowed his brow deeply as he began entering commands on his keyboard.
Yeah, don't think I could ever forget. It's because of him that I,
Let the rest unsaid. A moment later, several of the monitors switched over to feeds from around the scramble.
Alright.
Daisuke squinted at the images.
I'm not sure how much help I can be, but let me at least try to atone for what I've done.
Of course. And thank you. Daisuke's fingers flew over the keyboard, seeing all the monitors were focused on the scramble and its surroundings. And he carefully adjusted the angle and zoom for each of the cameras. Now the whole area was under total surveillance. All we had to do was get their stakeout crew to the scene. Where did Achi go? Asked Hitomi.
I'm not totally sure, but I think he went to find some of his old friends.
Hitomi sounded worried. Friends?
Achi used to belong to a gang called SOS. Actually, he told me he was the one who formed the gang in the first place.
What? I couldn't keep the shock from my voice. Achi was the founder of SOS? How bizarre the two of us would wind up meeting each other this way. But
I guess there was a big falling out between them. So I think he went to try and win them back over.
I hadn't heard anything good about SOS since Achi had left them. The things that ended up on bad terms between him and the gang, getting them to help might well be a lost cause. Even as Achi was able to gather some people up, how much would me and the others be able to trust them?
It'll be alright.
Hitomi said, as if sensing my thoughts.
I'm sure Achi will bring back some of his old friends. And when he does bring them, I'm sure he'll choose people we can count on.
You really trust him, don't you?
Yes.
Hitomi said without hesitation. Then a blush came to her cheeks. Alright, don't trust him too. It took about 10 minutes to get from Endo Electronics to the scramble. I turned to Stanley. I was planning to head out by 6:50. Stanley gave no reply. I withdrawn to the edge of the room, where he stood lost in thought, his expression uneasy. I decided to leave him alone for a bit. Taking a sheet of paper from one of the desks, I began drafting a plan for positioning Achi's reinforcements around the scramble. Alright, there we go. About 5 minutes, I'd drawn up a little map of the optimal places to deploy the team. It included positions for as many as 20 people Achi might bring back. I turned around, surprised to find Stanley right behind me, all of a sudden. The American looked haggard. Is something the matter? I asked.
You need to go to Scramble without me.
What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden?
Please, don't ask me to explain. Something else has come up and I have to see you to it.
Sweat beat on Stanley's brow. Whatever had happened, I had no doubt it was something major, and most certainly had something to do with Alphard. Stanley, I said. Please tell me we're past the point of keeping secrets. We have come this far together. Surely it was too late to get all tight-lipped now.
I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more.
Stanley dropped his eyes. I had a vague idea what Stanley was up to. He probably felt he needed to keep things hidden even from his own allies in order to help keep Alfred in the dark. At least, that's my guess. Alright, I understand, I said with resignation. Do you had to, and come back soon. With an apologetic look on his face, Stanley turned and hurried from the workroom. I glanced out at my watch. It's coming up on 6:50. Pretty soon we have to head for the scramble. But Achi still hasn't returned. We need to head out soon, I said to Hitomi.
You said 6:50.
She replied.
There's still 2 more minutes to go.
I let out a tiny sigh. I shared Hitomi's fervent hope that the reinforcements would come, but not her confidence. If Achi didn't reappear, I'd be left to protect Hitomi all by myself, and to try to apprehend Alfred as well. Would he be able to pull it off if it came to that? I just had to trust him. He just had to trust himself to see things. I just had to trust myself to see things through on my own. I decided to head to the scramble with Hitomi right away. This wasn't about whether I could or couldn't. I would do it. I had to do it. There's no time for doubt anymore. Hitomi, I don't like having to do this, but we can't wait any longer. Seeing the look of determination on my face, she gave a tiny, reluctant nod.
Traffic in Danzako was at a near standstill. Had there been some sort of major accident? As I ran along the roadside, I heard a middle-aged man screaming angrily.
Frank.
Got to be kidding me! What do you mean, no trains are stopping at Shibuya?
The guy was red in the face. Hey. What the heck is going on? I felt compelled to stop and check things out.
Kyle.
Hometown Dad.
The young woman with the man must be his daughter then.
How am I supposed to do that? You heard what that boy said. We have to get out of Shibuya right away.
I got a look at the young woman's face. She was gorgeous. I had a feeling I'd seen her on TV before or something. She was probably an actress, but I couldn't recall her name. Well, I murdered to myself. It might be pretty, but you know Hitomi. Once more, I broke out into a run. There were a whole bunch of people walking in the direction of Route 247 and 246. It looked like folks really couldn't use the trains right now. Was this some consequence of Maria being infected with the Ua virus? Then I'd better hurry. We're the only people that can fix this. Ugh! With another cry to pump myself up, I bolted down the sidewalk, counter to the throng. Finally, I arrived at SOS's hideout. 2 young men were standing by the door as lookouts. I recognized one of them. It was a kid whose so-called buddies had tried to shake him down earlier that afternoon. They rused themselves as I approached. Hey, I need to see Susumu.
Nolan.
No, can't do. He's in the middle of something right now.
The lookouts made no move to let me through. I felt a surge of resentment towards Susumu. If he'd still been with SOS, he never tried to post members on guard duty like this. Fine, then I guess I would just have to do this the hard way. I forcibly shoved the 2 aside. But the 2 recovered quickly before I could get the door, then grabbed a hold and pushed me away. Look, I don't have time to screw around. Just go and tell Susumu that Achi's here. At the mention of my name, the 2 lookouts exchanged wary glances.
Nolan.
All right, I'll go ask him.
One of the lookouts headed inside, leaving Achi alone with the kid I just helped out earlier. They always stick you on guard duty? The boy didn't reply. Back when I ran SOS, we never needed anyone on lookout. We're just a bunch of guys who loved Shibuya. Had fun hanging out with each other. That's all it was, really.
It's not Suzuma's fault that SOS changed.
Boy said somewhat fearfully.
Lately, it's Kiryu's been driving things.
Kiryu? Oh yeah, that guy. I recalled my earlier run-in with him. I was an arrogant bully.
Kiryu's planning to steal Suzuma's throne.
What for? Boy took a nervous look at the door before hurriedly continuing.
He's trying to expand SOS influence. He's got a lot of people on his side. Right now, the gang's kind of split into 2 factions. Suzuma's guys and Kiryu's guys.
Finally, I understood what was going on. The gang members had all been acting so weird because they were caught up in some kind of internal struggle.
Kiryu goes around recruiting new followers by force. Who doesn't like you, he dishes out punishment. This month alone, he sent 8 people to the hospital. SOS is a total mess, man.
This plan of mine might not work after all. I felt a sinking sense of despair. If SOS was ravaged with infighting, it was doubtful they'd heed the dangerous requests I had for them.
Even still, I want to be a part of this gang.
The boy muttered. I peered at him in surprise. Why? They shake you down for dues? Stick you on guard duty? That's not a decent way to treat someone.
I look up to Suzumu. He treats me like he would anyone else, I'm way down the bottom. And it's not just me. Suzumu always puts the members of the gangs before himself. Just want to stick with SOS.
Ah. So that's it, huh? Susumu's really been trying his best. And the members of SOS, some of them at least, admired him for it and stuck by him. Thanks, I said. The kid gave me a dubious look. I didn't know if Susumu would help me or not. But I knew it was still worth putting their disagreements aside in order to ask. The door opened, and the other lookout returned.
Nolan. Nolan.
Susumu says to come on in.
I nodded and strode inside. The scent of alcohol and cigarettes washed over me. Susumu sat on the sofa at the far end of the bar. It was where I used to sit back in the day.
What do you want?
Susumu asked immediately. I walked up to him and got down on my hands and knees.
Huh? What are you doing down there? The hell is this all about?
I need people to bring a guy down. I'm here to ask you for your help. Crowd around me flew into an uproar. Peals of mocking laughter rang in my ears. I know I have no right to ask you this, but please, I really need your help.
Some guy, huh? Who?
He's an international terrorist, trying to get his hands on some type of wonder drug for a killer virus. If you don't catch him, somebody I know is going to die. And that's not all. He might unleash this killer virus here in the city. Susumu bursted out laughing.
This some kind of joke? Y'all right in the head there, Achi?
The gang members followed in his lead, unleashing a storm of mockery. The laughter continued for quite some time. Finally, I had enough. Shut your damn mouths! I roared loud enough to quash the merriment echoing through the bar. Are you going to help me out or not? Just give me your answer. I stared at Susumu right in the eye. Susumu leaned in close, peering down at my face.
Is that how you go about asking someone a favor?
Susumu growled menacingly.
That's you.
If you have a problem with me kowtowing like this, I can apologize some other way. Kowtowing like this?
Kowtowing.
I can kowtowing like this. I can apologize some other way, all you want. But don't you care that I just told you Shibuya is in danger? My voice was unwavering. But face it, Susumu. Isn't Shibuya the reason everyone here hangs out with each other? You're telling me you don't want to keep your town safe. Then I won't ask you guys for anything again. I withdraw my request. 2. We glared into each other's eyes. Then before Susumu could reply, an odd man stepped in between me.
Nolan.
Sounds like you got an interesting story. Mind letting me hear it too?
You again? Didn't you already get your interview?
You again. Didn't you already get your interview?
Susumu rolled his eyes.
I think Grovels here might be telling the truth.
The newcomer's face was all seriousness.
Lines up with the information I have. Hey, Grovels, you got a second?
The name is not Grovels. I growl. It's Achi.
I'm Minorikawa, magazine reporter. And I know a bit about the stuff you were saying just now. The killer virus you mentioned is called the UA virus. That wonder drug is an antiviral medication. The person you know who might die is Maria Osawa. Am I right?
I was almost too shocked for words. How do you know all that? Minorikawa ignored me and turned to the SOS leader.
Susumu
Said,
something really is going down in Shibuya. What are you going to do about it, boss?
Susumu bit his lip. He looked pretty conflicted.
Frank.
Let's give him a hand.
Oh.
Achi turned to see where the voice had come from. It was Kiryu.
You shut up!
Smooth said with a glare.
Break out of your rut, old man.
Kiryu sneered.
Achi here is right. Isn't keeping our beloved Shibuya safe what SOS does?
He slipped an arm around my shoulders.
You okay with that, right, Achi? Me going against Susumu's orders to help you out?
Kiryu's lips pulled back in a broad, unsettling grin.
But first, we have unfinished business, you and I. I mean, I'm willing to lend a hand even though you ditched the gang and all. But first, we've got to settle our score, here and now. You understand, don't you?
Yeah, you're right. Kiryu grinned hungrily.
It's guillotine time!
A bunch of the gang members started up in eager clamor at Kiryu's pronouncement. In a matter of moments, I was grabbed from all sides and hoisted onto a pool table. A dozen young men held down my arms and legs, positioning me so my head is jutted out past the table's edge. Kiryu brought out a steel pipe nearly a meter long. It was caked liberally with dried blood.
That's like the gang members.
Everyone.
Guillotine!
Guillotine! Guillotine! Guillotine!
Guillotine! The men of the Kiryu's faction pumped their fists into the air, chanting madly. Kiryu licked his lips, as if drunk off their cheers. Glancing at one side, I saw Minorikawa speaking emphatically to Susumu. It looked like the reporter was trying to talk some sense into the SOS leader.
Man, today is my lucky day. I get to take the head of SOS's original head.
I twisted my neck to peer up at him. Man, what point is there taking my head right now?
Oh my. You don't get it, do you? See, if I send you to the hospital, everyone in Shibuya is going to know my name. And once I've got that big ass sign over my head, I'll be able to unite this town under my banner in one fell swoop.
His eyes were crazed and bloodshot. Then that's all the more reason for you to do what I'm asking. If you want to unite Shibuya, you have to protect it first. But if you think you need to take my head to do that, then go right ahead. Even if these guys were all like Kiryu, if many of them actually showed up at the scramble, they'd be able to do far more than I could hope to do by myself. The ultimate goal was to capture Alpha. I didn't care how they made that happen. I was just sorry I wouldn't get to see it through to tell me to the very end.
Okay then.
Kiryu brayed.
The gloves are coming off.
be. I balked at the last second. No, wait, hold on. But it was too late. Kiryu raised the steel pipe above his head. And then, before he brought it down, he flicked it, the tip of his tongue from his mouth like a snake.
Dumbass. As if I'd ever help a bitch like you.
It was no use. I'd never be able to dodge in time. My limbs were pinned down with too much force for me to have any hope of avoiding what was to come. But the steel pipe never struck home. Just when it was about to smash into my head, Susumu grabbed a hold of it.
The hell you doing? The hell you doing? Enough of this crap, Kiryu.
Susumu yanked the pipe from Kiryu's grasp and tossed it onto the floor. Kiryu stood frozen in surprise, a vein pulsed angrily in his forehead.
You guys too.
Susumu added, glaring
Let
at
him
the
go.
others.
Let him go.
The toughs holding me down cautiously took their hands away. Kiryu looked out a red-faced cry of rage.
But we got unfinished business!
Ignoring him, Susumu helped Achi slide off the table.
What is that me or?
Susan, yeah.
Every man gets to make one request in his life that cannot be denied. Do you remember saying that?
The word stood up some bitter memories within me. Yeah, I remember.
But you didn't grant me my request.
I guess not.
That's why I'm going to heed yours. No question asked.
Susumu held out his right hand. Susumu, you are...
Now make me a better man. Finally.
I reached out and clasped Susumu's hand in his. Yeah, I said, letting my relief show in my face. You're quite the guy. Susumu cracked a tiny grin. It was the sort of smile I had seen all the time back when I run SOS. Suddenly, Susumu staggered and dropped to the floor, falling too fast to even cry out. Kiryu had snatched the steel pipe back from the floor, striking Susumu from behind once his head was turned.
The hell with this.
He howled like a madman.
SOS doesn't belong to you guys. Not anymore. I won't allow it.
I didn't flinch. SOS doesn't belong to anyone, I said. It's not mine, it's not Susumu's, and it's not yours. We're just a bunch of friends hanging out and having a good time. That's the only reason why we got together. Nothing more, nothing less. He turned and looked around slowly. Hey, you guys. Do you all get together because someone told you to assemble? Do you get together to follow someone's orders? No, you don't. Of course you don't. The bar fell silent. I could see the young men who surrounded me exchanging glances. They could tell my words rang true. You saw it too, and it only made him more and more agitated.
Shut up! Enough of the warm fuzzies!
Abruptly, he charged forward, giving the steel pipe a mighty swing. I managed to dodge the attack by a mere hair. If it had connected, the blow might well have knocked my head clean off. I quickly backed away.
What's the matter?
You taunted.
How come all you do is run?
Pipe crashed down onto the bar top. Bottles of beer and liquor smashed and scattered.
Come on! What's the matter, Achi?
Kiryu slammed his weapon onto the pool table, sending balls scattering across the floor. Some of them collided with Susumu. Susumu let out a faint groan. Smirking at the sound, Kiryu stalked towards him.
Speaking of unfinished business.
With a gleaming grin, Kiryu took aim at Susumu's head, lifting the pipe high up. Stop! Before he could think better of it, I was rushing for my fallen friend.
You dumbass.
Without missing a beat, Kiryu shifted his weight and swung the steel pipe at my temple. I responded with a fast high kick with my right leg. The steel pipe connected hard with my shin, but Kiryu was the one who went reeling off balance. Kya! I pivoted and put all my might into a straight right to Kiryu's jaw. Blow struck home. Kiryu's head snapped back and he crumbled to the floor. There was a momentary hush of indrawn breath. The bar erupted in a wild clamor that practically shook the whole building. All eyes were fixed on me, marveling at what they had just seen go down.
Sounds like folks were hoping for a little more of a fight.
Usman got his feet, his left hand clutching his right shoulder. You alright? I asked.
Mostly. Because my shoulder took the brunt of the blow.
The gang members from Kiryu's faction rushed to their unconscious leader's side. I shot them a steely glare, and they gathered up Kiryu and dragged him out of the bar. I didn't go too far here, did I? I asked Susumu. Is this gonna cause some trouble for you?
Now, I figured Kiryu would put something like this eventually. It was just a question of when.
Right.
I'm sure he's gonna go gather up his own bunch after this. We'll probably wind up butting heads again.
Susumu didn't sound especially eager for that fight, but he didn't sound especially afraid of it either. I was still worried about a few things, but my friend had clearly grown as a leader.
Anyhow, back to that story about you needing some manpower. Will the guys here be enough?
There were about 30 gang members still in the bar. I looked at each of them, and the eye in turn. Some I knew from back in the day, while others were fresh faces. I was born and raised in this town. I'm fond of the friends I've met here. And this has always been a great place to have a good time. And today, right here, in this town, I met someone who's very special to me. And I know this doesn't involve the rest of you, but I'm willing to protect her. I knew I wasn't doing a great job at getting the point across, but the members of SOS listened quietly. And so, it's like, I felt like a grade schooler who didn't know the answer to a difficult question. I fused with my hair and frowned sheepishly. Okay, so I'm not really sure how to put this. But Shibuya is a special town to me because of getting to meet people like that. And maybe... No, I mean, it's like that for you guys too. Don't you love Shibuya? So help me with this town. I bowed low, indeed. I want to protect this girl who means so much to me. And the city that means so much to me as well.
I know my answer.
Susumu clapped a hand on my shoulder.
Listen up, everyone. SOS's original founder is back in action. He needs our help, and I, for one, am ready to follow him to battle. What do you say?
Susumu's people let out a hearty cheer.